Okay, I crashed. That happens. Um, Sometimes when you crash in this program, it just like blinks out and that's it. Okay. Other times it's a more of a controlled crash like that one, and it says, "Do you want to try to save a copy of your scene?" And usually it's fine. It's usually not corrupted or anything, and it puts it in some uh, random generic location, which I don't know exactly where it is. But if you go File, Open Recent, it will show. See, there it is. Uh, it just has my file name and then with recover at the end, and it put it in, my documents, 3ds Max folder in my documents folder or something like that. But I just find it there and then I resave it back to where it was supposed to go. Anyway, let's see. So, whoops. So we're in this thing here, right? And we did, let's open our UV editor and see if everything's still copacetic there. Let's see, get into poly mode, move these guys up somewhere. Okay, we have to do this little bottom wing, right? And then we'll just have the fuselage left over. So let me get a side view. Okay, so I'm in the left viewport, right? I have ignore back facing turned on. I'm going with, what the heck is it, planar. Okay, so let's, I had to change my angle there, turn on my checker pattern here, and make the thing smaller, right? Turn off planar, make the thing smaller here. First I'll move it out. Actually, again, I'll do the other side first and then I'll scale them together. All right, so this is the left. I will go to the right side and select up to here, okay? So I think I have the turbo smooth on 2, and you definitely wouldn't want it more than that, on higher than that, because it'd be hard to figure out what to select and what to not select. Yeah. So let's go to, and I think you could, once you had it unwrapped, I think you could bump up the turbo, drop down in the stack and bump up the turbo smooth 1 if you wanted to. You might not need to. And I don't think it's going to mess up the placement of anything. And actually, as long as everything's accounted for, it doesn't, this little intersection here, whether you have it planar selected or not, doesn't really matter because you're probably not going to put an insignia or anything like that. And in the past, we've done a lot of graffiti and wear and bullet holes and stuff like that. And probably a plane is more or less not having so much random contact with its environment that, there is a lot of detail you could put on, but I don't know if it'll be necessary or not. Anyway, let's go planar on this thing. Looks like I'm in the right attitude here. So I'm going to turn off planar, move this out. Yep, that looks good. So wait a minute. Shouldn't these be pointing the opposite direction? Or am I just thinking wrong? Well, we'll see. We'll find out, I guess. It seems to me like they should be pointing the opposite way. Like if I rotate this thing 180 degrees, And then if I hit fit again, well, let's see what happens. I could be not thinking correctly, but it seems to me like they should be opposite each other. They're opposite sides of the same wing. Yeah, I think that I got it right. All right, anyway, I'm gonna scale these guys down. Let's get my perspective viewport here. I don't know, this in the last couple of versions of 3ds Max, these buttons have gotten sticky, and sometimes you got to click them a few times to get it to work. All right, scaling these guys down. Talked about it, and then it got worse. Okay, something like that. We can, when we pack the UVs, we will have that. And so what we have left is the fuselage, okay? That's everything. Now, again, I'm not super concerned about like, I'm just going to put decals and stuff probably in obvious places. So where do I want the seam? Down the, so you see this green seam here? It's running right down the middle, okay? And so what that tells me is, well, that planar, it's not telling me anything here. So let's go to cylindrical, because it's looking at it with the planar projection, which totally doesn't work on this. Let's try cylindrical, and it looks like that's going the wrong way, right? So let's try X. That's wrong. Let's try Y. Yes, that Y was it for this one. And okay, let's see if we can figure out what's happening here. So this green thing represents the seam, and it's running down the back. And I guess I would like it if it was unwrapped fairly symmetrically, I guess with a seam on the bottom, I reckon. So what we can do is, if I go to rotate and start rotating the gizmo, okay, and as I rotate it, when you let go of it, you'll notice that it changes in your 3D view here. Okay, so these holes, these two holes here are the main wings, right? And these are the two back wings, and this is the bottom wing hanging down. So if I put this thing on the top, more or less like that, then see my bottom wing is in the middle where it would be, right? If I were to unwrap this thing like a pelt. So, but I said I think I want the seam to be on the bottom, so I'm going to rotate this so it's right down more or less in the middle of the bottom. Come on, thing. As such, right? And then if it's down the bottom, then the tail should be split in half. And again, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's fine. So we just got to not put any decals or insignias or anything right in the middle of the bottom. But we can put them on the side and we can put them on the top. And I think that's going to be enough. All right. I'm going to hit fit again because it wasn't quite the same. It's not a perfect cylinder. That looks a little snarky there. Let me scale it a little bit. This doesn't look very nice, but again, I don't, it's a piece of the nose that's not exactly working perfectly. And as long as we don't put anything there, it doesn't matter. All right, I'm leaving it like this. So I'm turning off cylindrical and I'm moving this guy out of there. And this is going to have to be, oh yeah, it's wonky there. Okay, so the, the places that aren't good, we just don't put stuff there. Okay. Of course, if we were working for Steve Spielberg or something, that wouldn't be an option. But all right, so I'm going to scale this. If I can get my scale thing to. I think okay, whatever. So I'm scaling it this way, right? Because it's not, if it was so wide as it came up like that, it's going to be too much skin for this thing. So we're going to. Looks a little funky on the top there. Or maybe that's just where the checkerboard is landing. Although the checkerboard should join on the seam. I guess that's about right. It's pretty skinny. Okay. All right. So now we just have to pack the UVs, right? So I'm going to turn on select by element. And I'm going to get these guys. Actually, I'm going to get, let's see, 2 top wings, 2 bottom wings, put them like that. These 2 guys, I'll keep them in that. Let's see, where will this go? Like that? Doesn't seem very good. Snap turned on up here, so okay. And I'm trying to not spend forever doing stuff, but all this could be made better. But yeah, you could do a somewhat tighter job than that. When you scale it down, make sure that you're scaling it. Yeah, with uniform scale turned on. Okay, and I can always, click on these later, and if I forget which one's which, that's not that hard to figure out. Yeah, baby. So let's, I'm going to file. You don't ever have to save these things because it saves with the file. I'm going to save this thing. And tools, render UVW template, and we'll just make it 2048 as per usual. And make this thing here white. Okay, la-ti-da. And we'll save that thing to, I guess I should make a 2021 folder. JPEG, and we're calling it, and make sure you have that word template in there. Okay. All right, so we have unwrapped the UVW.